Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Let's Talk with Tyrell and Antonio. I'm Tyrell.
And I'm Antonio.
So,
So we're gonna talk about alcohol because I'm the alcoholic in this family. And I was telling him like, Tyrell, let's tell like this, let's introduce alcohol together. He's like, why would I introduce alcohol when you're the one that drinks? I was like, oh shit. But
the lush.
I just like a good alcohol. So this, as you can see, is a red wine. It's almost as black as Tyrell.
Red, black. He tried it,
See?
but it's still not as sexy.
But it tastes better.
Uh,
And this is an Argentina Malbec from Lucky Duck. It's pretty good. There's 12.5 alcohol content to it, 12.5% alcohol content to it. So, hey, cheers, drink up.
yeah, y'all can have that. So, what are we talking about today? You fucking alcoholic.
You're addicted to shit too.
Sleep. Shit, that's why I look so young.
Oh, okay.
What the hell are we talking about today? Crazy ass.
Today we're talking about lessons learned, good and bad, from failed relationships. I actually posted this on Facebook, just kind of see what kind of feedback. I just want to see where everybody was going. I was slightly tipsy and last night, and I was thinking about some things in my personal life. So I was
Slightly tipsy. That's hard to believe.
I was slightly tipsy. I can drink a bottle in 2 hours and not be drunk. I was only slightly tipsy.
Gosh.
But I was thinking about some things in my personal life, like what went wrong in my relationship, my marriage, excuse me, in my marriage, not relationship, my marriage. What went wrong in my marriage? What could I have done better? What did I do wrong? And now that it's basically on its way out the door, I love him, but it's not what it's supposed to be. What did I learn, good and bad, that will help me to be better, to have a more long-term relationship with my next partner? So it was, I was having a very drunk man, realistic moment last night, which was actually pretty helpful because I did had some good self-evaluation going on.
So drunk counseling is always great.
Yeah. Any kind of counseling from me is always great. I think in three dimension. Your
Oh
side, my
gosh.
side, and the outside. So
Yeah. Come on, three sides.
each guitar. So I would say the first thing I learned good and from my failed marriage um, was to learn how to appreciate people for who they truly are
Yeah.
and love them for that.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes they come up with this whole, oh, like him. He has a Ken doll face. He's like, oh my God, his face is so good. He has like these really nice eyebrows. You can fall in love with that. And of course, you think of a perfect image attached to the face, but then you get to know that he's a psycho
Just a little bit.
and he likes to work out like 86 hours a day.
Mm.
And he's like, don't like to wear socks with his sneakers. It's like,
Yeah.
then
It's more comfortable.
like the small realizations of life start to kick in. Not that they're bad, it's just who he is. But if who he is and who you think he is don't match up, then you're gonna have a full-fledged problem.
That's true. I mean, and you have to know and appreciate who you're getting to know.
Yes.
Stop falling in love with what the person looks like or the material things, because those material things and that look
They don't last
ain't
long.
really who that person is.
Right.
So,
And it's that was kind of an awakening for me because again, I didn't take the time to really get to know my husband. I just knew that he had a good heart, and he still does to this day, a very good heart. Um, and I knew that Cinderella lied to me because the bitch made me believe that
not the blonde girl lied.
the bitch lied. The bitch lied, and motherfucking Hollywood lied because the motherfuckers made me believe that before the nigga went off to war, like I can fall in love after meeting him for 2 days, and then we get married on the third day. He goes to war for 2 months, comes back and is looking for me, and like everything's peaches and perfect until like the end of time. I didn't take the time. And that's the bad thing that I've learned from take the time. It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's bad because I did it. It's good because I learned from it. I needed to take the time.
Right.
So yeah, you have to take the time to get to know the person to be able to appreciate them and love them for who they truly, truly are.
And as you get to know somebody, you have to be able to ask yourself constantly, can I deal with these things or can I not? What are my real deal breakers? Because I feel like these days people have some unrealistic deal breakers that if they were to step outside of themselves, they kind of would be deal breaking with themselves, but they want everybody else to be perfect. That's not how it works. And that's why we have so many failed relationships, because you don't take the time to get to know that person and ask yourself throughout the whole entire situation, can I deal with this for 5 years, for 10 years, for the rest of my life or their life? Stop falling in love with what the person looks like or what they can do for you. Get to know if this motherfucker's crazy.
That's shit. That don't come out. That doesn't come out to about at least a good 6-7 months in.
And that's at least, like you said, at least, because you got some people that can hide it, and then
And
5 years into it, they standing over your bed like some poltergeist, stalkerish,
Jason in the middle of the night type of shit.
right?
But the funny thing is though, like even with the 6 months, it's almost like you have to live with them.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
if you're not living with them, they can still hide their crazy.
Yeah. Living with somebody is completely different from just dating them, because when
Yes.
you live with them, you're in their atmosphere, you're sharing space, you learn how they operate.
Yes.
Me, when I was in a relationship and we would alternate weekends. He lived out of state and he would come here and I would go there every other weekend. And then I said, you know what, let me take the opportunity to take a leave of absence from work, apply for jobs there, and go live there. I moved there on December 1st one year. My birthday is on December 18th. We were broken up December 15th after living together for 15 straight days. I realized I could not do this for the rest of my life. I couldn't live with this person for the rest of my life, even though every other weekend everything was perfect. But when we lived under the same roof and had to come home to each other, and we learned who we really truly were being involved with,
Shit hit the fucking fan.
hard. It hit the fan and I hit the road.
So I would guess what in that, because learning from it, what did you learn about yourself in that process though? Because that's we oftentimes forget to take self-evaluation of the roles we played in failed relationships. I can say my husband did this, I can say he did that, I can say this happened, this could have been done better, but I also have to say what was my part in it.
I feel like I learned in my situation that I wasn't and still don't tend to be the most patient person, but I always ask myself, can I deal with this? Is it something that's going to kill me or make me stronger when it's when it comes to getting to know somebody? If it doesn't kill you, it will make you stronger. It'll make you start thinking about things that you may not have really thought about until you were put into that situation. And when I was put in that situation, I had to learn patience, because this person that I moved in with, that I was trying to fall in love with, was not me. I love me. I enjoy me. But in order to get to know somebody else, you have to learn how to appreciate that other person. You have to learn how to love the good and the bad things about them. And when you don't understand something, don't assume. Ask them why they did it. Help yourself understand. And that's another thing that I had to learn. I had to learn how to ask questions about things that I didn't understand. Now, if you ask these questions and this person does not want to explain themselves, or, I've been told, well, that's just how I am.
That's not a good answer. They're not being open, not being vulnerable.
Yeah.
You have got to be vulnerable. As scary as it is, you have got to be vulnerable when you're in a relationship. That's the bad thing I learned about me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how childhood fucks you up completely.
Yeah.
Childhood will fuck entire world up. Like I used to get picked on real bad growing up. Like people was like faggot, sissy. As a kid, I was always effeminate. I always hung around nothing with girls. I really didn't have guy friends. The only guy friend I really had was my brother. And half the time he was acting like he was my dad.
Or
So I was like, leave me the fuck alone with him. But like, it was, I built a guard around myself.
Mhm.
I'm very personal with people. I'm very welcoming. But when it comes to matters of my heart, like,
Yeah.
that's people call me a serial dater. I would date 1,000 people a week,
Yeah.
and I'd be in 2 new relationships every month. And people's like, Antonio, like, what the fuck? Like, you're such a good guy. What's going on? I realized that I'm not vulnerable.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's something that you have to learn when you're trying to get to know somebody or in a relationship. What people fail to realize when they're trying to get to know somebody is that you have to respect the person for exactly who they are.
Yes.
Every time they show you something different,
Yes.
because nothing is constant but change, which means that the person that you fall in love with, they're going to change. They're supposed to change.
Come on, India.
So when you stop changing, stop learning, you stop growing. When you stop growing, you stop living. When you stop living, you are dead. And so is your relationship.
This is real deep.
Real deep.
I need a sidetrack.
Why? Damn it.
I need a sidetrack. Like,
I mean, I feel like we're touching on some really good subjects. It is hitting.
we are, but it's hard for me to stay like all
But
the time.
I think a lot of people need to hear that. And I think that's what. No, hell no.
Sidetrack!
Hell no. Kick your ass. Having a whole nother damn conversation. Damn it. I'm his ass. As y'all see, he's not only a drunk, but he's also a distraction. He distracted.
Did you just call me a demon?
Yeah. I didn't call you a demon. I just said you have
a distraction. I just can only stand serious moments and mushy moments, but for so long.
But I think that's where a lot of people that right there, a lot of people have that same thing going on.
Yes, because it don't need to be that like.
But it's a vulnerability. You have to be vulnerable in order to have these conversations and let it dig deep. You got to get to the root of the problem.
I just told them I got issue being vulnerable.
Well, we're going to get you back to that root right
now. But the
now.
good thing is I do want to be more vulnerable.
Right.
I do. I acknowledge.
So what steps have you taken to be vulnerable? More vulnerable, because you can't just go out there and just open your whole chest up and expect somebody to respect who you are and what kind of person you are.
I think the first step I've taken to be more. If I take time to open myself up to somebody and doing it to somebody I know, I have a feeling it's less likely to like take it and run or like do whatever I want with it.
Right.
I can be more vulnerable with somebody who's gonna be more vulnerable with me, and so it's basically my first step is to basically take time to get to know the person I'm with. Discernment is really getting real churchy. Discernment is a real thing. If you don't put it, everybody has it. Honestly, I believe God gives everybody discernment, and you have to put it into practice. And if you don't put it into practice, then it's like a wasted talent. So I have started to try to put more discernment and more getting to know someone into play. So, prime example, met this guy. We're not dating. We're cool.
Mm-hmm.
But in the process of just hanging out and just talking, I've learned that he is all right. But I don't give everything on the first. We've hung out like 3 times already.
Okay.
He still knows about this much about me. It's not because I'm not being vulnerable. It's because I'm making sure that he's the one I want to start being vulnerable with.
But, my feelings on vulnerability stem from communication. I'm an over communicator, and it's a problem for some people because I feel like in a lot of people's lives, gay or straight, people put vulnerability with conversation or communication. So the less they talk, the less they're open with people about things that may or may not be positive or negative in their life. They feel like if I'm, telling this person this, they're not going to like me. But it's you.
But it's not that, though. It's not like, let me phrase it. It's not saying, here's a platter, take it or leave it.
You can get a whole platter, but you still have to feed them enough. You got to give them a little bit of meat and potatoes every time.
I am, but I'm not saying I'm
He giving
saying,
them a chicken leg and a potato wedge.
bitch, I'm giving them a 5-star portion about this big.
Come on, French portions.
About this damn big on this plate. Here, see it all in the white background. About this damn big on the plate. And a little bit of time, because I need to be able to trust you with my vulnerability. And again, it works hand in hand with me establishing something with somebody.
But I mean, why wouldn't what is it that you would not trust him? Well, besides your personal information, your social security number, how much you make, all of those things, you don't go into the first date with all of that. But there are certain things that you need to, tell this person that you're not vulnerable. I go into a situation and I always tell people I'm not the most patient, but I will communicate my ass off to help you understand me. Because if you work with somebody like me who's not patient, you will never understand what's going on. You will always feel like something is wrong when nothing is wrong. There's a certain level to communicating when it comes to getting to know somebody.
Communicating. There's a certain level to communicate.
Oh God. Here we go. Here we go.
No, but what do I tell them? Like, I don't go off the bat tell them like the really deep stuff.
Right.
As you know, like the really deep. I'm not going on like that.
Right.
But what I'm not going to tell you are coming, for the first, the things that really make me sad. The things that hurt me, because it's not that deep yet.
Right. So, but you should tell him the things that bother you.
No, not yet though, because.
But when you have to.
No, but I mean, it depends on what stage you're in on that though.
But it's almost like doing a SWOT analysis on yourself.
Because it's like me coming in and saying, okay, so this hurts me, this hurts me, this hurts me.
I didn't say hurt.
Well, this bothers me.
No, because hurt and bother is two different things in my world. Hurt and bother is two different things. There are some things that may bother me and some things that might be a deal breaker. Like me, personal hygiene is a deal breaker.
Yeah, that's a deal breaker every day.
If you don't take care of yourself, it bothers me.
I can deal with you farting, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Just natural. I mean, come on now.
Oh my God.
But no, but that's it though. But I need to be more vulnerable. I'm working on being vulnerable because I used to not be vulnerable.
Okay.
I used to always be stone faced bitch. Like nothing.
I remember that person. Yeah. And the gargoyle shows up sometimes.
Ain't she ever? But yeah, so I used to be stone cold bitch face, like nothing's wrong, nothing bothers me. And the first thing that happens, yeah, you get the shot.
Oh.
First thing.
You blinked wrong. Gotta go.
Seriously, it was like that. Because I used everything I could to keep people away from me. To guard myself. Yeah. I was not being vulnerable. I was like, if you did anything I didn't like, I was gonna save myself first. But I've learned now that I gotta be a little bit more vulnerable. I gotta give pieces and I gotta take pieces.
Right. And that's when you have to add, when you have that, if somebody blinks a certain way, let's just use that because I already put it out there. If somebody blinks a certain way, you have to ask yourself, can I deal with looking at this person blink like this? And then you have to ask them, why do you blink like that?
No.
To me.
Okay, to me, I'm like, bitch, can I live with them blinking like that? That's number one.
Right.
Bitch, two, how do I blink and how does it affect them? Self-evaluation.
But but what if your blink doesn't bother them? You can't make that bother them.
It's not about it bothering them. It's about reality. It's a reality check.
Right.
You're saying I'm finding fault in you. So let me see if I can find the same fault in myself to where I can't sit here and feel like I'm better than you in this area. Right.
Now don't get us wrong. We're not saying that blinking is a reason to leave somebody alone, because I know it's gonna be somebody who comment and say blinking is really, really petty and I can't believe it. We're not saying that.
It's just the metaphor.
It's just a metaphor
for the situation.
It's just a metaphor.
Hopefully you get that. You all are smart and beautiful. We love you. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, you gotta ask yourself, okay, bitch, how do I blink?
Right.
How do I raise my eyebrow?
Right.
How do I smack it in the table?
You close your damn mouth, chewing like a cow.
Cause I know some people chew like that.
Yeah, I know.
That I can't fuck with. And so,
but why?
It's noisy as shit. Like I know your food. If your steak is great, baby. Yes, it's juicy. It's seasoned well.
Oh my God.
The potatoes are over. The broccoli is so right. Bitch, close your goddamn mouth. That's one thing I cannot deal with. I cannot deal with somebody who chews loudly. And it's funny because my best friend chews loudly. And so, and I love the bitch to death. Well, excuse me. I love the young lady to life. She's amazing. But my best friend, it's small. It's small. It's not like, but
Yeah.
she's so tiny. Her mouth like.
I know some chompers. I know people who chew loud.
And I look at her I'm like, and I make it a point with me, because I know it annoys me,
Right.
to make sure my mouth is closed when I'm chewing.
But why not use that opportunity to make it into a laughing matter, so that it won't seem as big to you?
Because
But why? Why does it annoy you?
Because it's loud and it's like messy.
And not everybody's loud and messy when they chew with their mouth open.
I know, but it's a perception, and it is what it is.
Okay.
And I I love her for it.
Right. You appreciate her. Those are things you can deal
Yes.
with as your friend.
It annoys me.
You can deal with
It annoys me, but it wouldn't be her if she wasn't doing it.
Exactly.
And so in that, I've learned to love her for who she is.
Exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
the point. Like,
And that's what it's all about. Looking at things as you go through your relationship and learning about that person and learning about yourself, the good and the bad things, because what he may find bad about one person, somebody else may find good, or not even realize that they're doing it.
right.
Because I'm sure that if she's been doing it all her life, she don't even realize that she just chewing.
I probably mentioned to her once or twice, but in a really sweet way.
Yeah.
But my thing is, what good thing have you learned?
About my
Failed relationship.
failed relationship, I've learned that communication is everything.
Okay.
So that's where my vulnerability comes from, and that's why I say communication is the success or failure to every situation in life. That's relationships, that's friendships, that's jobs, that's everything. Communication is everything, and vulnerability. Communication promotes vulnerability. You have to be able to open up and say some things that you might not necessarily feel comfortable with saying. There's a lot of people who need to say things that they're not comfortable with saying, but the more you say it to yourself, it's almost like, when you're growing up and you practice telling yourself certain things in the mirror, or when you are public speaking and you stand in the mirror and you talk to yourself. You have to be comfortable and strong enough to communicate these things in order to be vulnerable but not weak, because vulnerability is not a weakness. And I think a lot of people feel like, if I'm vulnerable and I give you my heart and I communicate with you, I'm weak.
But here's this thing. Here's my point about communication, though. It's a very difficult thing, although it's very simple, primarily because people communicate differently. So people say, and I always hear communication, 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 communication. That's one thing that's never been a problem with me. Bitch, I open my motherfucking mouth. I say what I got to say.
But it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And what you saying, because I know you, your communication is extremely direct.
Yes.
And
why beat it on the bush?
I'm a direct person too, so I can appreciate the direct communication because it's effective communication to me. But you can't expect everybody to appreciate it without saying, yeah, he communicates, but he an asshole. I get that all the time.
But you communicate, but it's also, even if I'm communicating directly, some people act like I still don't say shit. It's like, you never said anything. I didn't say shit.
But that's effective communication. Maybe you didn't say it to where they understood it. It's almost like when you're communicating with somebody, you have to say it in 10 different ways.
How do you not understand a straight line?
Because the line may not be straight for everybody.
He just preached.
So,
But you just preached.
And the line that when the lines of communication are not always straight. You might have given it to them like this.
Direct.
But they're here. And if you don't go over there and get them, and you're still here, I'm over here. You can't tell them, come over here, I'm talking to you over here. You got to go over there and make sure they understand what you're saying.
But sometimes I ain't got time for that. And I guess,
see?
And that's
patience.
I don't have time to sit here, I don't have time to sit here and baby you. I don't have time to sit here and patronize you. It is what it is. I'm telling you what it is. You hear me, but you just don't want to hear it. You don't want to accept it because it's not the way that you wanted it to be told. But you know exactly what I'm saying, though.
But why?
That's what bothers me.
But when you say something, what is it going to hurt you to say? Do you understand what I just said?
That's 3 extra sentences.
No, hell no.
Did
you understand what I said? Because it's almost like when you get into this marriage.
Understand what I just said? That's 7 extra words.
That when you get into a relationship or a marriage or something like that, you can't expect, say, a husband and a wife. If a wife sends a message or she calls her husband and say, "Hey, babe, I need you to go to the grocery store." He's gonna go to the grocery store and pick up whatever the fuck he wants to pick up. And then she said, "I told you to go to the grocery store and you didn't get nothing that I wanted. You didn't tell me what you wanted."
Different.
No, it's not.
That's a lack of communication. That's a lack of direct communication. That's a lack. That's different though. When you're direct, you're saying, "I want you to go to the grocery store. I want you to pick up bread, eggs, and water." He comes out with bread and water. And you say, "I told you to get bread, eggs, and water. And why did you only get bread and water?" And you can't say, "Well, you know." But
what if they didn't have the eggs that she wanted, and he didn't communicate that? He just came home with no eggs.
Then he's a dumbass. Babe, they don't have bread. Anything else you need?
Oh gosh.
And I'd be like, "Bitch, go to a different store. We need the shit." Like,
you wouldn't never have time for that.
But you want to eat, you got time for that.
Why can't you stop and do it too?
Because I'm at home cooking your fucking meals, taking care of your kids. After my 8-hour day.
I ain't having no kids.
Tell me either, no shame. But for those of you who do have kids, aka puppies, or real kids.
Or both.
Oh God, I feel bad. I know you're happy for Fields, but I know you're very busy as hell. You have fun with that.
Yeah. Write us about it. Tell us how it is.
Try to convince me to have. You know what? No shade though. Sidetrack. I know. I actually have thought about having kids, and actually, I know.
No, run like hell.
Actually, I got a girl who wants to have a kid with me.
I know, and as soon as the baby come out, I'm gonna whisper to the baby and run like hell.
Especially if I have a little girl. Oh my God.
Oh God, she's gonna be a diva.
She's not gonna be a diva. She's gonna be very well mannered, very respectful, intelligent, and eventually fly as shit.
A diva. Look at that face. See?
She's gonna be amazing. But
the baby's gonna know how to pose at 1.
At 2. Allow the child to be a child. But actually thought about having a little boy.
Oh gosh.
I know. Now you have the name picked out. It came to me in a dream. That's why I know.
So let's go ahead and sidetrack on this. What's the baby's name? What's the little boy's name? What's his name?
Kai. Khai. Kai. Middle name? My middle name. Lee. Lee. It was going to be Kai Lee.
That sounds like
somebody else like, "Ooh, that's feminine." I almost cussed the bitch out. I was talking to my coworkers, and this pastor said, "Oh, that's real feminine." I was like, "Bitch, you're real nosy. Get the fuck out of my goddamn conversation."
See? Communication.
Like, no, bitch, I'm talking to you. Say the fuck out of my mouth. I don't care.
Kai Lee. It almost sounds like a kimono.
It does sound very Asian kind of sort of, but it means like king. King. It's very strong. I'm looking at the name, and I forgot it because I don't look at the bitch every day. But it's a very strong, very very prominent name for the meaning. And
he's getting a dog, and they're gonna call the dog Kai Lee.
I want to do that too, but if I actually have a son, I can't name my son after my dog.
Well, you can get your dog first.
Well, then I'll kill the dog, and then I have my son.
Oh gosh, animal cruelty. We are against animal cruelty.
Yes, we are. I never really kill the dog, but just figures. I give the dog away. Is that better? I give it to
That's much better.
I give it to a loving home. I never really would though, because I had my dog Dollar. I gave to my ex-boyfriend's friends because I couldn't take care of it anymore.
Okay.
So I mean, no, I grew up with animals and pets, and my house is a fucking zoo. I have affinity for pets. I don't like them bitches, but I love them. It's kind of a weird thing.
Kind of like a relationship. I don't like his ass, but I love him.
But Michelle Obama said you have to like him even when you don't love him.
Well, that's true, because one's got to be over the other one. Because I got some family members that I love that I don't like.
If I don't like you, I don't love you.
Oh.
It is what it is. Why waste time?
You can love somebody and not waste time.
Yeah, but why am I going to waste my time loving them if I don't like them?
Like and love is two totally different things.
But yeah, go hand in hand. Like the relationship.
Oh gosh. Right. So you got the like or love.
No, see, because you're like, and I'm love. And we go hand in hand. But bitch, people go like this real quick too.
And we can keep rolling too.
No. And then go this way.
Wow.
Go that way. Because once like and love split, ain't no point.
What? We did that already.
We did, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh.
And ended up and ended up right back here. We liked and loved, went our separate ways, and ended up right here, right back together.
Because he didn't give me what I wanted.
That lack of vulnerability, communication, and I want to say what I want to say.
Say it.
No, I'm just saying that's what you used to do.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, sidetracked. We get sidetracked again.
Anybody still on the topic of failed relationships? Because
I mean, we've all had failed relationships, and at the end of the day, when it comes to failed relationships, you have to learn and let learn.
take the good with the bad.
Yes, you have to learn and let learn, and if you allow somebody to learn who you are, which kind of ties into vulnerability, communication, stubbornness.
So hold on, so because we're about to end the show, quick recap.
Yeah.
What's your good and bad thing you learned about yourself from a relationship?
The good thing that I learned about myself is that I'm more patient than I thought that I was.
The bad thing?
The bad thing was I'm also one of those people that will cut you the fuck off and not have to ever hear from you again. And that's a bad thing.
So my good thing is I learned, and of course it's being vulnerable, but I'm not going to it yet. I'm worth it. I'm worth a relationship. I'm worth somebody loving me. The bad thing I learned is a bitch is not vulnerable at all.
Not vulnerable.
I'm not vulnerable, and that's a bad thing, but I've learned it. And I can use it to grow for the next one. So this is our episode. Let's talk with Tyrell and Antonio.
I'm Tyrell.
I'm Antonio. Facebook us, Instagram us, email us, website us, tweet us.
Follow us on YouTube. Watch our other videos. Comment. Send us some questions. Send us some topics that you want us to talk about. And soon we'll be having, live chat where we allow you to tune in. So just.
Well, we would love for you to tune in.
Yes, please do. Comment. Good and bad, because that's a part of life.
Yes.
You have to accept the positive and the negative. So I know that there's some people who don't agree with what we said. So share your views with us so that we can share it with everybody else, because we know that everybody don't think like us.
At all. Especially
just like we don't think like everybody else. So share how you feel about this topic of failed relationships and what you've learned, good and bad, about yourself.
All right.
Have a good one.